trying to get everything together. I'm doing this a little different tonight. Why am I doing it? How am I doing this a little different? I'm actually doing it from the patio with some light. So I am doing this on audio, and there will be a visual that will be seen on different formats. So again, this is D-Boy from West Coast Uncensored. How's everybody doing? I want to thank everybody for I'm just really appreciative that how on Anchor my podcast has really taken off, and also starting to get some headway on other formats, the visual stuff, doing some other stuff on LinkedIn, but really on Anchor, how I'm just amazed at how the last few months and even the last week, the last four podcasts have taken off into a place of doubling and tripling my others before, just the last four. And I'm just really excited about that information and that motivation and that consistency would be able to do that. So I want to thank everybody for that. Definitely subscribe to me. I'm going to do this first. I forget at the end. I really would, because I'm going to get cooking in a minute. But subscribe to me on Anchor. Subscribe on D-Boy WCU on Instagram. Danny Bryan 310 on Instagram. Danny Bryan on Facebook. But I also got a West Coast Uncensored group on there on the Facebook. And also D-Boy West Coast Uncensored on LinkedIn. We just really started getting that and hitting on that. So if you've been following anything recently with me, and you've been knowing that I've been doing this Monday morning or these little ditties, and why I've been doing that was I wanted to really put some really good stuff out. So I really wanted to hit on some really important things that for people and just their mindset. I think it's important that we start really working on ourselves and become A1, that we're the top priority of ourselves, and getting caught up in playing outside of ourselves. And then we wonder why we don't have no power. We need to really start recognizing the reality and what goes on the reality, and your part that you play in your reality, whether you're aware of it or not, you're playing it. Whether somebody's playing the tune and you're running and dancing to that tune, you're playing your part in it. And I think it's very important. So the other day I talked about the 3 C's, and I talked about the big three. And I'm not talking about hitting threes behind the 3-point line, but actually you can put it in that kind of way if you want for life. Because it can be equated to that. But these 3 C's, if you can able to establish these big 3 C's in your life, the big three, you will see that you will get some headway, and that you will get some traction on things and goals and missions and things you want to do in a lot of different aspects. Because this platform, spiritual, mental, physical, I'm on the patio, so if you hear, I'm in LA, if you hear sirens, if you hear cars going by, you hear a little yelling, you're getting the real life thing today. I'm not going to take that out. You can hear cars go by, you can hear that because it's so nice outside. And I'm on the patio, set up everything in the patio, nice breeze. We finally got away from some heat. So back to it. If you can hit these big three, what you're going to find out is that you're going to get some leverage on your life and get tractions on goals, things you want to do, mindset, unsticking yourself from that negative mindset that seems to just like a entanglement around you, like some seaweed or some kind of weed or some quicksand that you have a hard time shaking and can't get away. Have you ever went to the beach, got in the water, went swimming, and then had a hard time getting the sand off you, and it seems like you had it off, and then you go do something and the sand's there and it starts grinding at your skin, and it's very uncomfortable, and later on you find out you have sand in your shoes or you have sand in your clothes. It's kind of like that. So if you can kind of stay on course on these 3 big C's, the big three I'm going to call them, you will find that you will get some traction for your life, for your goals, and your mindset. Because this is about breaking habits. When you break a habit, it's going to be replaced by another habit, but you want to have the habit you had that will affect your life and give you a production within yourself, within your mind, because you're like a tree. You're going to have good fruit instead of things that just hinder you. You never can get past. You never can get, always looking for a job, but maybe, or getting past certain things with a job, or can't get the better job, or sometimes you think, hey, I wouldn't mind doing this or that, but I can't do this or that. You got to get that language out. The I can'ts do not serve you. They don't. You can do anything you want, but you have to shift. You have to shift your mindset. You have to shift your thinking. You have to shift your temperament. You have to shift your reaction. You have to shift how you observe things. That old saying about observing the glass half full or the glass half empty is a very good quotation, because it's not about what's said. It's about the mindset and perspective of the depth of the perspective. And what I found out, it just really hit me today, that I will be covering, I'll give you a little bit on today, but I'm going to hit this big, is there's key words in the language that if you practice them, they will catapult you like a quantum leap, but it is going to be the very thing that you do not want to face, because it is facing your very fear, it is facing your very challenge. But in facing your fears and challenges, the thing it's going to do is quantum leap you to your next level. And actually, within facing your challenges, is going to change your life into a way of momentum and energy that you wouldn't expect. But that very thing you fear, the most thing you fear, the most thing you judge, the most thing you regret, is where that victory's at, where that change is at. Facing your fears, taking on the challenges head on, not backpedaling, but be very offensive in the challenge. Here's the big three I'm going to drop. First, I'm going to drop on you courage. Courage. You want to have courage. It's an ability to do something and face something that frightens you, that scares you, that just may even disable you, to take on that fear. Whether it's somebody, whether it's some people scared of the dark, some people, it could be whatever your fear is. You have to take it head on, something that frightens you. So, and it could be, a lot of times it's the mindset, going on a plane flight, getting in the ocean, going on a boat ride, going on a cruise. You say, oh, I don't want to do that, I'm scared. You will not catapult until you face that. If you don't care to catapult, but this is about mindset, this is about getting victories, this is about you changing, you developing self-development, you changing for the betterment, because you got something going on. You want to have the best life and plans and goals that you can to go to the very next level, and it starts with these things. So the ability, your courage. That's why you have the story of what's her name? Judy Garland in that movie. She goes in there. She goes The Wizard of Oz. One of the culprits had to have some courage. You had the Tin Man. You had the lion. And so you had to have the courage. You have to have the courage. You got to have the courage to face that which seems to be your opposite, or the thing that puts you under stress, and go up against it. That challenge will actually be your biggest growth. Courage. The second of the 3 C's is a commitment. And the commitment actually means a state of quality and a dedication to a cause, to an activity. That means you have to be committed to whatever your goals are, whatever you want to do, your spiritual, mental, physical growth, whatever your growth is, your business, finishing school, going, whatever it is. If you find yourself completely stuck, and you'll find out one of the biggest things that you'll lack is you won't have a commitment to doing something different. You have to be committed to doing something completely different. Hear what I'm saying? And that commitment has to come from you and your heart, that you're committed to it, meaning things that would there's a lot of things that you like and bad habits we've had that may not serve you, but you've been in a program where you've always did it. I was talking to somebody about that last night in a meeting we had, because me and a few other people actually had a celebration for going up a level in our business. And then we're finding out it was pace setting. They have this thing called pace setters. At this level we went up was very, very fast. They said, you're months ahead of where you should be. You guys have set a pace and went out and paced this race. That the pace is so fast that you're like months ahead of just the normal, the average. The average will still be a pace setter, but you're pacing way in front of that. And I started thinking about that. And how that you can go and have one of the people in there have actually a triple jump. they jumped 3 spots to what they did, and within a short period of time. I jumped double. I double dutched it. I jumped twice, and I started thinking how this works in quantum. So one of the things was it was a commitment, the courage to go do it, and then the commitment dedicated to the cause and the activity. Meaning, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say this right here. I'm a huge former coach. Love sports. Played in my days of my youth. Love that stuff, love this stuff. In over 50 years, I'm 58, over 50 years, I've watched every NBA final until this year. Why? I gave more prowess, more consistency, more commitment to my business in doing what I needed to do to make myself better at what I was doing, to help people and do the things that I was doing. So I made a commitment, and it cost me to not do the things that I normally did. Habits, things I liked, but not necessarily those habits served me. You can become, you just watch, you're passive, but it doesn't necessarily in other parts of your life serve you. So I made a commitment, and I haven't. And I was talking to last night to somebody, and I said, do you realize since 69 or 70, I've watched every NBA finals until this year. I haven't watched, actually I've really watched hardly any sports, and haven't watched that at all. Commitment, and this is one of the things, when you take on your courage, it may be courage to stop doing certain things, but you can see the benefit of the growth, you as a person, and then you may not, you may see that there's other things that serve you in the growth of as a person, as a leader, as a husband, as a father, as a grandfather, as your leader of your team. If you're doing your own business, you may be more productive on your mindset at work, because I definitely believe that you need, these things will do what hinders you and what can get, so you need a commitment. You have to commit to it. You can't halfway dance. You got to come in and dance and get involved. So a commitment, dedication. The third of the big three is consistency. It's applying a conformity to an application of something, and that means, I'm going to put it in layman's terms. It's learning to be there when you least don't want to be there, and that goes back into courage. These all three link up. And why I'm saying this is what I was talking about earlier. And I'm going to break this down on a full, because I got some other words I'm going to break down and correlate, and you're going to go, oh God, I didn't see that like that, because I've seen it, experienced it today. Is these words link together, just like negative words link together. They will spiral you down in your thinking, but these words, this courage, the C's, the commitment, the consistency, will actually link you to a higher state of consciousness and commitment and courage and consistency, that you start noticing that you're not going, you're leaping. You're like a leap year. You're leaping. You're not going one spot. Like one of my business partners, they leaped from 0 to 3. They leaped 3 spots, that's quantum. That's quantum stuff. You're leaping 3 spots. You're not staying the same. You're not just going a step by step, but you're actually bounding over 3 or 2. You're going from one spot to the next spot very quickly. And this is when you start linking these words. There's power in words and in the vibration of it. So when you talk certain language, you talk certain words, that's why they call it cursing. You're cursing, or you're writing in cursive. It's a curse. It may not be, you bind yourself by your words. This is the next level stuff. But if it's also, you can loose yourself, meaning you can go to the next level by putting those things together, harmonizing words that serve you and actually take you to the next level. So I'm looking at that and seeing it, because these are aspects that if you take them one by one, they can be darn right difficult, because you weren't raised to have any commitment. You're not raised to have a lot of courage. And then, of course, guys are going to say, well, yeah, I'm not afraid. No, you're afraid to face your fears. You are, because you might not tell anybody what your fears are, because you don't want to talk about that, because you might think it takes away your manhood, or it takes away that which you are. And then when you start living it, just that thought is fear. when you're worried about what other people think, what other people judge, and what to say about you, I don't care if it's your friends, from where you're from as a youngster, or your family, if you are afraid and worried about what other people think, you live in fear and you don't not call your own shots. You allow others who are outside of you really shouldn't have any word or any kind of opinion that you would even think is worth the salt, because this is your life. You would actually allow their thinking to, and their words and their judgment to keep you from having courage. That's how deep it is. It's not that you're not afraid to go do something or jump and double flip into the pool. It's not that. And that can be at times for some people. It's, are you worried what your friends think when you change your language and you're running with other people and you're doing something that you really want to do but your friends never knew it? Or your family, when you just said, they thought, your family dictated and they said, hey, we wanted you to do this, and you go, that's not really what I want to do, I'm going to go my own way. And then all the judgment comes down even from maybe your mom and dad and your family, because can be very cultural. The things and decisions you make, very traditional, right? It can be very traditional what you do. So can you go that way? Can you go to that next level? Because that's courage. And then the commitment and courage, these things start linking. The courage will link to the commitment, because you took the courage on means automatically commitment's linking up like a fence. So dang, I see courage. Commitment goes, I got to grab that link because it's part of me. It's the unity. And then those two link up, and then consistency says, God dang, I got to get on this train, because this is my connection. This doesn't divide me. This connects together. This is how I build myself. That's why I call it the big three. You can hear the fireworks in the background if you can. This is why I call it the big three. Courage, commitment, consistency. And they link up to each other because it's a vibration that you speak. It's a mindset that you do. It goes to another level, and that mindset goes to another level. It doesn't carry you down because it's not negativity. It's a build-up. Because a lot of these times, I've did it, said, man, it's hard to, never really thought about the courage, but commitment and consistency on certain things, I always judge myself. And I've already talked about that. Judgment for yourself is such a negative thing, but it's also because you have courage to face your fears. It is. And it's an easy way out by having judgment on yourself, but it's also demoralizing if you don't learn the aspect of getting rid of it. And that's a whole other thing. I've talked about it on some other past videos. If you haven't watched it, we talk about self-judgment. So courage, facing your fears. It's not the fears to try to show off. It's the fears that nobody may know you have. I know some really big, strong guys, and really afraid to ride a plane, afraid to swim. Won't face that fear. Will always avoid it. It's time to take on the things. If you want next level, if you want the same old same, if you want next level, because this goes into what do you want to do? What's the very thing you want to do? What's the challenge? What's your challenge? So these things will link up when you see courage, commitment links up like a fence. And then once they link up, then consistency links up, because a fence that has links and a fence like this strong. Consistency, courage, and commitment become a strong pillar, a strong fence, a strong foundation. The big threes, hit your threes. The threes are courage, commitment, right? Courage, commitment, and consistency. That's the big three I'm talking about. You guys, I really thank you again for listening, Anchor, and my podcast. I'm just like happy. Took some work, took some consistency, because there's times I'll admit I was inconsistency, and then when I started seeing the numbers in, and I said, it was just me being committed to it and doing it and not giving up on it. Then after a while I started getting some traction, and then I said, okay, there's people listening to this I don't even know. Before it was just the people I knew who would be called vibe with me would be a part of it. Now I'm looking and saying, dang, these other people are really, really, somebody else is watching this and taking part in it, right? So this is D-Boy from West Coast Uncensored. Again, hit me up on LinkedIn, D-Boy West Coast Uncensored, LinkedIn, YouTube, D-Boy West Coast Uncensored, Anchor, D-Boy West Coast Uncensored, Instagram, D-Boy West WCU, which stands for West Coast Uncensored, and Danny Bryan 310. Hit that up, because I intermingle and get stuff on both of them. And then, of course, on Facebook, Danny Bryan, and then I have a West Coast Uncensored face there too. So you guys have a really, really good day, okay? And I'll be putting some other stuff out here for you to do, okay? To listen to. You guys, hit me up. You guys are on this video. I went off of the audio because I already went into that, and I should have left some more stuff. Subscribe to me on the audio at Anchor, but also subscribe and get on there and listen, but also hit me up for business. If you want to be a business partner, but you want this great products, man. I believe, the greatest products in the world that we do for health and just cleaning up your environment. It has every aspect you need for you, and also it has some things you don't know that will pleasantly surprise you. You guys have a great day.